Hi there, my name is Zoe Kirill. I am a teacher, artist, and social activist living in New York City, New York. I went to undergrad in Washington, D.C., and I began my master's in this program about a year ago. For this project, I really wanted to focus on social injustices and how we can utilize art as a vehicle or as a motive to encourage students to want to make a change for their own future. So, the inspiration for my project actually came from one of our school's mottos a few years ago, which was together but not the same. We were really trying to encourage students to recognize their differences, but to ultimately understand that we are all the same. We are all humans. We are all living on this great planet. So, with this project, I wanted to encourage my students to explore social injustices happening in the world and in our communities. And then using their knowledge and an artistic lens to want to change society and for the better. So initially, what I wanted my visual component to be was a giant size mural that I would have my class create. But unfortunately, with the time circumstances and the end of the year being really hectic at our school, I decided to do sort of a mini version and leave it as inspiration for my students whenever we do get a chance to do this project. And ideally, what I had in mind for the project was that each of my students would do some research and identify a social injustice or a controversial topic that is affecting a society today. And then with this research, they will create some sort of visual, some sort of mural or representation to share with the rest of our school and ultimately with the rest of our community in the hopes of sparking a conversation and wanting to inspire others to want to make a change as well. So, what I wanted to represent in my artwork was sort of the motto of together but not the same, where I split the canvas down in half and I used a bunch of safety pins to sort of tie them together. And then obviously the black and white to show contrasting or differences, but really using the safety pins to demonstrate that even though we are all different, we are still connected. And so, a lot of what we talked about in the course was just the increased use of technology and how it is playing a role in the way in which we teach art. And a lot of times, and including myself, I think of technology and um, social media as a negative aspect of our youth today. However, I wanted to sort of take a different lens and highlight how really actually it can be a great tool for youth and students to gain exposure to a lot of the social injustices and the controversial topics and events that are happening in today's society. Um, so, a lot of what I found in my research was that the topics the youth find most interesting are LGBTQ rights, gender inequality, gun control laws, environmental and climate change, racial biases, and equal access to education. Also, in my research, I kept coming across the phrase of change makers. And it really stood out to me because we do often think of our youth as our future, as the ones who can change all of the things that aren't happening in the right way now. I think a lot of times we overlook the power of kindness and positivity, and it's definitely ways like this and little things that we can do um, that will help to inspire our students and just help to create a better school culture and a better environment to be in overall. So I found this question, what do you want to be or what do you want to do when you grow up, to really make me think about what I was thinking at the age of 11 and 12 and um, what did I want to do? I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be a teacher, or I wanted to go into politics and things like that. But really, a lot of what our children are thinking today is, I want to make a change. I want to do something that's going to help others. So there were three kind of different themes that I focused on. And the first one was providing a platform. So there are a lot of times when my students will come up to me and they'll say, listen, this isn't fair, this isn't right, and I want to do something about it. But they often don't know how or where to start. And so I think using the art room as that space, as that platform to encourage them to think deeper and to go out and to make a change, I think is really important. The second theme that I sort of went with was be an ally. A lot of times it can be difficult for young children who have these ideas but don't necessarily know who to talk to about it or what to do. And I think it's important for teachers to be that ally, to be that person that they feel comfortable with, to go and to have an open dialogue and share how they're feeling and share the things that they don't think are fair and the things that they want to see happen that are different. The last thing that I would really love to see all educators and really just anybody realize is that any small change that you make can go a long way. My school recently had a presenter come in talk about the homelessness problem in New York City, and one of the things that stuck out to me the most about that presentation was the power of a smile and how far a smile can go to make somebody's day. So, some of the questions that I was still thinking about at the end of my research were, what are other ways that we can inspire our youth to become social activists? How do we create that safe space, that inclusive space that welcomes all opinions in a safe school setting? Um, this one I really struggle with, and is it possible for teachers to fully remove their biases on controversial topics that could end up influencing their students? I know it's something that I wrestle with a lot. It's just making sure that my students are forming their own opinions, and maybe we have the same ideas in mind, but just really making sure that we remove our own biases to let them think creatively and independently. And lastly, I had the question, what are some ways in which we can keep the involvement and engagement in the art room for students of all ages? I know I have a lot of pre-tweens that are at the age where they think art maybe is too cool for them. I want to hope that bringing a social activist lens into the art classroom and just putting something that's more tangible and relatable will keep their involvement and keep their engagement for longer. Lastly, I just have my website. I do have to say that my website is a work in progress, and I hope to put up this presentation and along with some other projects that we've done this semester. So thank you.